The Intergalactic Academy by Honesty Sort. Chapter 1: Galactic Beginnings. The journey of self-discovery is the journey of a lifetime. Embrace it with open hearts and open minds. Quote from the Arcturian delegate to the Orion Accords. As the shuttle docked at the space station, Emily couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and anxiety. She had always dreamed of exploring the stars, but she had never imagined she would be attending a school on a secret space station for part alien students. When Emily's had received news, she couldn't believe it. She had always known she was different, but she never suspected she was part alien or what she would come to call the Touched. Her research, carefully performed in secret, had found to her shock that her mother had been abducted by aliens when she was pregnant with Emily, and the aliens had used their advanced technology to repair some damage to the fetus. Now, at the age of 16, Emily had been recruited to attend the school on the space station, where she would learn about her alien heritage and develop her powers. She wasn't sure what to expect, but she was determined to make the most of this opportunity. As Emily stepped off the shuttle and onto the space station, she was greeted by a group of alien teachers. There was a tall, green-skinned alien with tentacles on its head, a small, furry alien with wings, and a humanoid alien with shimmering purple skin. "Welcome to the school, Emily," said the purple-skinned alien, introducing herself as Professor Zerk. "We're excited to have you join us and learn more about your unique heritage." Emily smiled nervously as she followed Professor Zerk and the other teachers down the corridor. She had no idea what was in store for her, but she was determined to embrace her new life on the space station and learn as much as she could. As Emily followed the teachers through the corridors of the space station, she was in awe of the advanced technology and strange alien artifacts on display. She had always been fascinated by space and aliens, but she had never imagined she would be living and learning among them. Professor Zerk showed Emily to her dormitory, where she would be sharing a room with 3 other students. 2 of them were human, like Emily, while the third was a full-blooded alien with bright blue skin and a tail. "Hi, I'm Zara," said the blue-skinned alien, introducing herself with a friendly smile. "And these are my roommates, Jake and Lily." Jake and Lily were both human, and they seemed just as nervous and excited as Emily. They introduced themselves and chatted briefly, but Emily couldn't help feeling a little overwhelmed. She had never shared a room with anyone before, let alone aliens. As Emily unpacked her belongings, she couldn't help feeling a mix of excitement and anxiety. She had always been a little different, but she had never felt so out of place. She just hoped she would be able to fit in and make friends at the school. The next day, Emily woke up early for her first day of classes. She was a little nervous, but she was also curious to see what the school had in store for her. She followed the other students to the classrooms, where they were greeted by a diverse group of alien teachers. "Welcome to the school, students," said Professor Zerk, standing at the front of the classroom. "I'm sure many of you have questions about your alien heritage and your powers. We're here to help you learn and grow, and to prepare you for the challenges you may face in the future." As Professor Zerk spoke, Emily couldn't help feeling a sense of excitement and purpose. She was determined to learn as much as she could and make the most of this opportunity. She just hoped she would be able to fit in and make friends at the school. Chapter 2: Asteroid Adventures. To find your place in the universe, you must first find your place within yourself. Quote from the Andromedan children's book. Emily's first week at the school was a blur of new faces, strange classes, and unfamiliar customs. She had always been a good student, but she had never encountered anything like this before. She was struggling to keep up with the advanced technology and alien cultures, and she was struggling to fit in with the other students. Most of the other students were full-blooded aliens, and they seemed to have a natural affinity for the advanced technology and alien cultures. Emily, on the other hand, felt like a fish out of water. She was constantly asking questions and making mistakes, and she couldn't help feeling a little self-conscious. One day, during a break between classes, Emily was sitting alone on a bench in the courtyard when a group of full-blooded alien students walked by. They sneered and snickered at Emily as they passed, making her feel even more self-conscious. "What's wrong with you, half-breed?" one of the aliens called out. "Don't you know how to use your powers?" Emily's cheeks reddened as she lowered her head. She had always known she was different, but she had never experienced such blatant prejudice. She had hoped that the school would be a place where she could learn and grow, but now she wasn't so sure. Just then, a friendly voice broke the silence. "Don't listen to them, Emily. They're just jealous because they don't have your powers." Emily looked up to see a group of human students approaching her. They were all smiling and friendly, and they seemed to understand what she was going through. "I'm Jake," said the tallest of the students, introducing himself. "And these are my friends, Lily and Zara." Emily recognized Jake and Lily as her roommates, and she was relieved to see a familiar face. Zara, the blue-skinned alien, was also in her dormitory, and she seemed just as friendly and welcoming as the others. "Come on, let's go get some lunch," Jake said, smiling. "We'll show you around the school and introduce you to some other students." Emily hesitated for a moment, but then she smiled and stood up. She was still a little nervous, but she was also grateful for the support of her new friends. She followed them to the cafeteria, feeling a little more hopeful about her future at the school. As Emily and her new friends walked to the cafeteria, Jake and Lily told her more about the school and their experiences as the Touched. They had both been recruited to attend the school a few years ago, and they had learned to embrace their unique heritage and powers. "It wasn't easy at first," Lily admitted. "I was really scared when I first found out I was one of the Touched. But I've learned so much here, and I've made some really great friends. It's definitely been worth it." "Yeah, it's not always easy," Jake agreed. "But we're all in this together, and we look out for each other. If you ever need help or support, just let us know." Emily nodded, feeling a little more reassured. She was still struggling to adjust to life on the space station, but she was grateful for the support of her friends. As they reached the cafeteria, Emily's eyes widened as she saw the array of strange and exotic foods on offer. There were dishes of strange, pulsating tentacles, glowing orbs like fruits, and bubbling liquids of all colors. Emily wasn't sure what to try, but Jake and Lily seemed to know their way around the cafeteria. "This is the best place to try some new foods," Jake said, grinning. "Just be careful, some of these things can be a little spicy." Emily laughed and followed her friends as they filled their plates with a variety of strange and delicious-looking foods. She wasn't sure what everything was, but she was excited to try something new. As they sat down to eat, Emily couldn't help feeling a little more at ease. She still had a lot to learn about her alien heritage and her powers, but she was starting to feel like she belonged. She was looking forward to exploring more of the school and making more friends. Chapter 3: Cosmic Connections. True friends are those who stand by your side through thick and thin, no matter the distance or differences. Quote from the Zeta Reticulans Religious Tablet. As Emily settled into life at the school, she began to focus more on her studies and her powers. She was still a little behind the other students, but she was determined to catch up and make the most of her time on the space station. However, Emily soon found herself facing a new challenge. A rival student, a full-blooded alien named Vrax, seemed to have it out for her. Vrax was the top student in their class, and he seemed to resent Emily's presence at the school. "You don't belong here, half-breed," Vrax sneered one day as they were working on a group project. "You're just holding us back." Emily tried to ignore Vrax's taunts, but it was hard. She couldn't help feeling a little self-conscious and unsure of herself. She knew she had a lot to learn, but she also knew she had potential. She just wasn't sure if she would be able to realize it. As the weeks went by, Vrax's hostility towards Emily seemed to grow. He would sabotage her projects, spread rumors about her, and even try to bully her in front of the other students. Emily was starting to feel like she was under constant attack, and she didn't know how to deal with it. One day, as Emily was walking to her dormitory, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned around to see Vrax and a group of his friends approaching her. Emily's heart raced as she realized she was in trouble. "What do you want, Vrax?" Emily asked, trying to sound braver than she felt. "I just wanted to remind you that you don't belong here, half-breed," Vrax sneered, closing in on her. "You're nothing but a weak, inferior excuse for an alien." Emily's cheeks reddened as she felt a surge of anger and frustration. She knew she shouldn't let Vrax get to her, but she couldn't help feeling hurt and powerless. She just wished she had the strength and courage to stand up for herself. As Vrax and his friends closed in on Emily, she could feel her heart racing and her palms sweating. She knew she had to do something, but she wasn't sure what. She had never been in a physical fight before, and she wasn't sure if she was ready for it. Just as Vrax was about to lay his hand on Emily, a voice called out from behind them. "Leave her alone, Vrax." Emily turned to see Jake and Lily approaching, with Zara close behind. They were all scowling at Vrax and his friends, and they looked ready to defend Emily. "What's the matter, Jake? Afraid your half-breed friend can't handle herself?" Vrax sneered, turning to Jake. "I'm not afraid of anything," Jake replied, standing tall. "But I'm not going to let you bully Emily just because you're afraid of her potential." Vrax's face twisted into a snarl as he advanced on Jake. Emily's heart raced as she realized the situation was about to turn violent. She knew she had to do something, but she wasn't sure what. Just then, Emily felt a sudden surge of energy coursing through her veins. She could feel her powers starting to awaken, and she knew she had to use them. She closed her eyes and focused, drawing on all her strength and determination. When Emily opened her eyes, she saw that a bright aura of energy was emanating from her body. Vrax and his friends were all staring at her in shock and fear, and Emily knew she had to use this opportunity to make a stand. "Leave us alone, Vrax," Emily said, her voice firm and confident. "I'm not afraid of you, and I'm not going to let you bully me or my friends anymore." Vrax stared at Emily for a moment, and then he snarled and stormed off, followed by his friends. Emily let out a sigh of relief as Jake and Lily rushed to her side. "Are you okay, Emily?" Jake asked, looking concerned. "I'm fine," Emily said, smiling. I don't know what happened. I just felt this surge of energy, and I knew I had to use it." "You used your powers," Zara said, smiling. "It looks like you're starting to control them." "That's great news, Emily." Emily smiled, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. She had never felt so powerful and confident before, and she knew she had Jake, Lily, and Zara to thank for their support and friendship. She was determined to keep growing and learning, and to never let Vrax or anyone else stand in her way. Chapter 4 Stargazing Struggles. The greatest battles are often those within ourselves. Have the courage to face them and the strength to overcome them. Quote from the Pleiadian philosopher Ger Balat. As Emily's powers continued to grow, she found herself facing a new dilemma. She was learning more about her alien heritage and her potential, but she was also struggling to balance her new life at the school with her old life on Earth. Emily's parents were still on Earth, and they had no idea that she was attending a school on a secret space station for the touched students. Emily had promised to keep in touch with them, but it was hard to find the time and the words to explain her new life. She knew she couldn't keep the secret from them forever, but she wasn't sure how to tell them the truth. One day, Emily received a message from her parents, reminding her to check in and let them know how she was doing. Emily's heart raced as she realized she had to come up with a plan. She couldn't keep lying to her parents, but she also couldn't tell them the truth. As Emily sat at her desk, trying to come up with a plan, Jake and Lily walked in. They could see that something was bothering Emily, and they asked if they could help. "It's my parents," Emily explained, feeling a mix of guilt and frustration. "I promised to keep in touch with them, but I can't tell them the truth about where we are." As Emily explained her dilemma to Jake and Lily, she could see the understanding and concern in their eyes. They knew firsthand what it was like to have to balance their new life at the school with their old life on Earth, and they knew how hard it could be to keep secrets from loved ones. "I know it's hard, Emily," Lily said, sympathetically, "but you have to remember that you're doing this for a reason. You're learning and growing, and you're becoming something more than you ever thought you could be. And you're not alone," Jake added. "We're all in this together, and we'll support you however we can. You don't have to go through this alone." Emily smiled, feeling a sense of gratitude and support. She knew Jake and Lily were right, and she knew she had to find a way to balance her two worlds. She just wasn't sure how to do it. "Maybe you could talk to Professor Zerk," Lily suggested. "She's an alien, but she's also a teacher and a mentor. She might be able to help you figure out how to tell your parents the truth." Emily nodded, feeling a little more hopeful. Professor Zerk had always been kind and understanding, and Emily knew she could trust her. She made up her mind to talk to Professor Zerk and see if she could help. As Emily approached Professor Zerk's office, she felt a mix of nervousness and determination. She knew this wasn't going to be easy, but she also knew it was necessary. She took a deep breath and knocked on the door. "Come in," Professor Zerk called out. Emily took a deep breath and opened the door, stepping into the office. She stared around in wonderment at the oddities around her. Emily was greeted by the kind and understanding alien. Professor Zerk had always been a mentor and a friend to Emily, and Emily knew she could trust her with her deepest concerns. "What's on your mind, Emily?" Professor Zerk asked, looking at Emily with her big, blue eyes. "It's my parents," Emily said, feeling a lump form in her throat. "I've been keeping a secret from them, and I don't know how to tell them the truth." Professor Zerk nodded, understanding. It can be difficult to keep secrets from loved ones, especially when it's something as important as your alien heritage. But it's important to remember that you're doing this for a reason. You're learning and growing, and you're becoming something more than you ever thought you could be. "But how do I tell them the truth?" Emily asked, feeling a mix of anxiety and frustration. "I'm afraid they'll be angry or disappointed, or worse, that they won't believe me." Professor Zerk smiled and placed a comforting hand on Emily's shoulder. "It won't be easy, but it's important to be honest and open with your loved ones. Trust in their love and understanding, and don't be afraid to ask for help. There are resources and support systems in place to help you through this process." Emily nodded, feeling a little more reassured. She knew she had a lot to think about and a lot of decisions to make. Chapter 5 Nebula Nerves. The truth may be difficult, but it is always better to face it than to hide from it. Quote from the Siriusian Book of Laws. After her talk with Professor Zerk, Emily knew she had to face the truth and tell her parents the secret she had been keeping. She was still nervous and unsure, but she was also determined to be honest and open with the people she loved most. Emily spent the next few days preparing for the conversation with her parents. She practiced what she would say, gathered resources and support, and tried to stay calm and focused. She knew this wasn't going to be easy, but she also knew it was the right thing to do. Finally, the day of the conversation arrived. Emily sat down at her desk and activated the video call with her parents. As their faces appeared on the screen, Emily's heart raced and her palms sweated. "Hi, Mom, Dad," Emily said, trying to sound as calm and confident as possible. "I have something important to tell you." Her parents looked at her with concern and curiosity, and Emily took a deep breath and launched into her explanation. She told them about her alien heritage, her powers, and her enrollment at the school on the space station. She told them about the challenges and the growth she had experienced, and she told them about the friends and mentors who had helped her along the way. As Emily spoke, she could see the shock and disbelief on her parents' faces. They had always known that Emily was different, but they had never imagined that she was one of the touched. They had a lot of questions and concerns, and Emily did her best to answer them honestly and calmly. As Emily finished explaining her story to her parents, she could see the mix of shock and understanding on their faces. They had a lot of questions and concerns, and Emily did her best to answer them honestly and calmly. "I can't believe it, Emily," her mom said, shaking her head. "I always knew you were special, but I never imagined you were the touched." "I know it's a lot to take in," Emily said, feeling a mix of guilt and relief. "But I promise you, I'm the same person I always was. I just have a few more powers and a lot more to learn." "We're just worried about you, honey," her dad said, looking concerned. "We want you to be safe and happy, and we want to be there for you. But we also understand that you have your own path to follow." "I understand," Emily said, feeling a sense of appreciation and gratitude. "I know I have a lot to learn and a lot of decisions to make, but I know I have your support and love. That means the world to me." As they continued to talk and discuss the implications of Emily's revelation, Emily couldn't help feeling a sense of relief and clarity. She had finally been honest with her loved ones, and she knew she had their support and understanding. She was still facing a lot of challenges and decisions, but she was also feeling more confident and empowered than ever before. Chapter 6: Supernova Success. The path to greatness is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Follow your heart and your passions, and let them guide you to your destiny. Quote from the official record from First Contact with the Orionian. As Emily's final year at the school drew to a close, she found herself facing a new challenge. She had learned and grown a lot during her time on the space station, but she was also struggling to figure out what her next step should be. Emily knew she had a lot of options, but she wasn't sure which one was right for her. She could stay at the school and continue her studies, or she could return to Earth and try to find a place in the human world. She could even try to explore the vastness of space and see what other worlds and cultures had to offer. As Emily wrestled with this decision, she found herself seeking the advice and guidance of her friends and mentors. She talked to Jake and Lily, who had already graduated from the school and were pursuing their own paths. She talked to Professor Zerk, who had always been a wise and supportive mentor. And she talked to her parents, who had finally accepted and embraced her alien heritage. "It's a big decision, Emily," Jake said, as they sat in the courtyard on a warm, sunny day. "But you have to remember that you have the skills and the potential to do whatever you set your mind to. And you don't have to make a decision right away," Lily added. "You can take some time to explore your options and see what feels right for you." "That's good advice," Professor Zerk said, as she joined them. "It's important to be open and flexible, and to trust your own instincts and desires. You have a bright future ahead of you, Emily, and you have the power to shape it however you choose." Emily nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and uncertainty. She knew she had a lot to think about and a lot of decisions to make, but she also knew she had the support and love of her friends and loved ones. She was determined to make the most of her opportunities and to follow her dreams wherever they might take her. After much contemplation and consideration, Emily decided to return to Earth and try to find her place in the human world. She knew it wouldn't be easy, but she was determined to use her powers and skills for good, and to help bridge the gap between the human and alien worlds. With the support and encouragement of her friends and loved ones, Emily packed her bags and said goodbye to the school and the space station. She knew she would always cherish the memories and lessons she had learned there, and she knew she would always be grateful for the opportunity to grow and learn. As Emily stepped off the transport ship and onto the landing platform, she felt a mix of nerves and excitement. She knew she had a lot of challenges and adventures ahead of her, but she also knew she had the strength and determination to face them head-on. As Emily walked through the streets of her hometown, she felt a sense of familiarity and belonging. She knew she had a lot to offer the world, and she was ready to make a difference and make her mark. And so, Emily began her journey as one of the touched, blending her unique powers and skills with her humanity and compassion. She made new friends, faced new challenges, and discovered new worlds, always striving to make a positive impact and to bridge the gap between the human and alien worlds. The end. Epilogue. Years passed, and Emily's journey took her to new heights and depths. She faced many challenges and made many sacrifices, but she also experienced many joys and victories. She learned to use her powers and skills to help others, and she found a sense of purpose and fulfillment that she had never known before. As Emily stood on the top of a tall building, looking out at the city below, she couldn't help feeling a sense of accomplishment and pride. She had come a long way from the touch student on the space station, and she had made a positive impact on the world. But Emily also knew that her journey was far from over. There was always more to learn, more to discover, and more to give. She was ready for whatever came her way, and she knew she had the support and love of her friends and loved ones to carry her through. As Emily turned to walk away, she couldn't help smiling and feeling grateful for the journey that had brought her to this point. She knew she had a bright future ahead of her, and she was excited to see where it would take her next.